Hello and welcome. Thank you for watching our presentation today. The law offices of McLaughlin & Associates and McLaughlin Mediation and Consulting focus on helping small to mid-sized businesses grow and thrive. You started your business because of your passion. Let us help you with that vision. We offer a variety of legal and human resources services. Check out our website for more details at www.ma-lawpc.com. And now, on to our presentation. What are your responsibilities as an employer? All right. As an employer, are you responsible for sexual harassment? Yes, you are. As I said before, you are strictly liable, which means, what does that mean? Strictly liable for managers and supervisors' harassment. Strictly liable means that it is assumed that if somebody complains about a supervisor or manager, that really did happen. Correct? Am I saying that correctly? Whether you knew or should have known, you are liable for as an employer, you're liable for their harassment, their behavior. It also means you're liable for coworkers or non-employer harassment. So if you have, let's use an example. If you have a customer who comes into your donut shop every morning and they think they're hilarious. This guy thinks he's hilarious. He tells dirty jokes to the ladies selling the donuts, and they humor him, but it's not appropriate. And all the other customers hear him doing this, and that's inappropriate. You are responsible for handling that situation. And what could that entail? A conversation with the customer, and if that doesn't stop it, tell them to stop the behavior. If that doesn't stop it, you may say, you're not allowed to come into my store anymore. So you are liable for that if that's brought to your attention, or you should have known. You're also, if somebody brings a complaint or issue to your attention, you are responsible to investigate that matter. But like Ken mentioned, if the supervisor is the responsible party, then that is not the person to conduct the investigation. If you're the employer over that, perhaps you can start the wheel rolling, but we strongly recommend you get, especially in a small employment environment, that you get an outside neutral person to do the investigation. Policies, training, clear communication. Managers and supervisors should monitor their work environment to ensure sexual harassment is not in the workplace. Managers and supervisors and owners need to lead by example. Check in with everyone. When you do your annual training, just check to see if there's anyone who has any concerns or questions, any suggestions, that kind of thing. A strong policy is very important as well. So you must communicate that to your employees to make sure that they know exactly what steps they need to take to help themselves and their coworkers. Because if I see something happening and I can tell that Aisha, thank you, I'm sorry, I knew I was gonna murder that. Aisha, let's say, she sees something going on, but she knows that guy's really shy. He's not gonna make waves. So maybe you might wanna mention something to a supervisor confidentially that something's going on and maybe they should watch out. So, everyone needs to know what their responsibility is too, to help create a hostile-free work environment. And then investigate. Let's go a little bit more into an investigation. What does that entail? First of all, you cannot ensure complete 100% confidentiality. What you can do is say, we will keep this as confidential as possible. You will not be having conversations in the cubicle room. You will not be making it obvious about, it's time for my investigation. Here we go. John's going to come into my office. No, you try to keep it as confidential as possible, but you can't guarantee it because you're going to be calling in witnesses. You're going to be calling in coworkers. You might even talk to a patron on the phone. You don't know. You don't know where the investigation is going to lead. After you interview the complainant and get a list of all the people that they think might be witnesses, then you go and you speak with the perpetrator and get his or her side of the story, and again, get his or her witnesses that might corroborate their version of the story. And then you start talking to witnesses. And, if you want to meet them at Panera or whatever, that's fine. But, just make sure that you tell them this cannot be completely 100% confidential, because somebody's going to know. They're going to know something's going on. Again, interview all relevant witnesses. Went through that. Oh, documentation. This is the part that is a little squishy because, and why it's probably not a good idea for you to do the investigation yourself. Documentation is key. And as an investigator, I would ask for, if it's a pay issue, and he didn't give me a raise because I didn't have sex with him or something like that, I would look at payroll, I would look at job descriptions, I would look to see how the company's structured. I would, so there's that kind of paperwork. But also, if the perpetrator says, no, I gave her a bad review because she just sucks, she's terrible at her job, I would also look at performance evaluations, because if she was good up until this and all of a sudden, boom, that doesn't look good. Why did suddenly she change? It could be because she was being harassed and she couldn't do her job properly, versus she really was terrible at her job. So there's a lot of documentation that goes with that, good note-taking, write-ups, things like that. And then after you've gotten all this information, you have to make a decision, and you have to take corrective action if it's appropriate, whether that means restructuring your organization or making the person whole and giving them that promotion or that pay raise they were up for, or firing someone. And these are all potential corrective actions. If you're not doing training, then one of the corrective actions might be that you start doing the training, just things like that. And all of this does not prevent them from still going to the Department of Human Rights or the EEOC, even though you've done your due diligence. They can still file. You may feel betrayed because you did everything you wanted to or needed to, but they can still do that. You brought up something that is not in this presentation too, and I should have added it. Retaliation, what does that look like? Okay. Yes, you are prohibited also as an employer from retaliating against someone who has filed a complaint with you, the EEOC, or the Department of Human Rights. And what could retaliation look like? Fire them, reduce their hours, take away benefits, move them to a different job with less pay, less responsibility. Could be less responsibility and same pay. They're all, if you make any change whatsoever to their work situation after they've filed a complaint, then that is considered retaliation. So be very careful when someone does bring something to your attention. Okay, and that could be the complainer of the witness, the bystander, or the actual victim of harassment. In situations where the conduct does not rise to the level of harassment. So let's say an incident happened, it just happened once, she or he said, no, I don't like that, and it never happened again, but they still file a complaint. What do? You do the investigation, and you come to the decision that, this isn't harassment. You are responsible for counseling and training both parties about their behavior, about what constitutes sexual harassment, what rises to that level. That we used to have something called a reasonable person standard. That is not the case anymore. It's a lot more strict. It's my opinion that it's harassment. I don't care if it's not yours, even if it's reasonable or not. However, it still has to rise to the level of harassment. And what does that mean? It means it happened more than once. It's fairly consistent. They won't take no for an answer. It happens frequently. Frequency is an issue to consider, and there are other couple things else that that I can't think of off the top of my head that you need to evaluate and consider when you're making that decision. Take reasonable action within the organization, we discussed that, and follow up with the complainant. Don't just investigate and let it lie. Make sure you follow up with that, both sides actually. You do not have to tell the victim of harassment, yeah, well, I'm gonna fire him, so you're all good. You don't have to do that. It's none of their business as to what corrective action you took, but you can assure them That's the confidentiality part. You can keep that discipline, to that can be confidential. So, you can just tell them that you have seen the harassment, you accept that is correct. Your report says, yes, that you did find harassment. We are taking appropriate actions. The person may not like what's being done. So let's say they got promoted, but now you're taking that away, but it's not obvious. Or you said you're going to take 2 weeks off unpaid leave, and then they suddenly go on vacation. She or he, the victim, does not have to know that it was unpaid. Now, a couple little bit more examples are to discuss here. Food for thought. All right, I'm going to give you another couple examples. I'm a supervisor. A few women told me about a patron that was saying sexual things to them. I'm going to ignore it for now and hope that the patron just stops. Is that the correct way to handle that? No, correct. And what would you do? The answer was you would talk to the patron and ask them to stop the behavior. If they don't stop the behavior and they continue to do that, you need to tell them they are no longer welcome in your store or facility. Okay. If they're an agent of a contractor, let's say you have a cleaning service that comes in and it's the cleaning guy, okay? I know that's not patron, but if it's a cleaning guy, then you would talk to the cleaning service and say, take him off our route, we want a different cleaning person. We have several mental health professionals as clients, and one scenario I was thinking about is that, let's say one of your licensed professionals has an issue with one of their clients. When they get into the room or on telehealth or whatever, they start making sexual innuendos, and that makes them uncomfortable. What I would do in that situation as the employer is reassign that person to me. That's what I would do first. I would not address him specifically about it. I would just reassign them to me, or to a man, or or a woman, depending on the gender issue, so there are ways to do it subtly without making it public and respecting both parties. I'm investigating a claim of misconduct by an employee against a patron. Another one. I'm going to tell the employee that this will be completely confidential because the patron doesn't work here. Is that a correct thing to say? Correct. Because why? I'll probably talk to other people that they work with to see, hey, have you noticed this happening, etc. So, and then of course, if it does come down to a conversation with the patron about the behavior, they're going to know exactly who made the complaint if they did it. So, all right, one more situation. My staff and I do annual sexual harassment training. Yay. My company is completely protected from all claims. True or false? Correct. There's always that situation where they still complain. So thank you so much. Thank you again for watching this informative session. If you have any questions about what you just heard or want to contact us for legal or business consulting services, you can reach us at 630-230-8434 or email us at kmclaughlin@ma-lawpc.com. Have a wonderful day.